Hey there and welcome to MurderTube, where today we have the very first requested case, and it involves some murderous manipulation and deceit. This is the case of Kevin Mengel. Kevin was born in Westchester, Pennsylvania in 1976, and he was the oldest of 3 children. It was in 1995 when Kevin graduated high school, and people knew him as an ambitious, hardworking, and motivated young man. But what Kevin cared for most, though, was family. Kevin believed that family came first, and where there is family, there is love, and that is all you need. So as you can imagine, someone that cared so much about family was pretty hurt when his own parents got a divorce. It took such a toll on the relationship between Kevin and his father that for many years to come, their relationship was extremely rocky. But it didn't take long though until Kevin met the love of his life, the charming Morgan. The two fell in love and Kevin could now have what he always wanted: a wife and children, a family of his own. Kevin was dedicated to his family and he wanted to give them everything that he possibly could and to give them the best life possible. So he started his very own successful company, MKB Landscaping. MKB standing for his children's names, Mercedes, Kevin, and Billy. This went well for quite some time, and Kevin was even able to patch up the relationship with his father, and they also became closer than ever. This was around 2010, and they actually planned to have a get-together for the upcoming Father's Day, with Kevin and some of his other siblings spending some time with their dad again. However, around June 17th, 2010, something unexpected happened. Kevin walked out on his family. Neither he nor his wife attended the Father's Day celebration that was planned. See, the perfect relationship actually had some issues. Although Kevin was a dedicated husband, Morgan was a less than dedicated wife. She would often have affairs and cheat on Kevin. This, of course, would cause arguments from time to time, and about once a year, the couple would temporarily split up or need some time apart before they patched up their relationship again. Usually, though, this was Morgan leaving the family for a brief time. This was the first time that Kevin had left his family. Of course, his family were worried as this was not like Kevin. Kevin was a very dedicated person and he cared about family. Not only did he walk out on his wife, he also walked out on his 3 children. Kevin did, however, text some of his relatives and friends letting them know that he was okay, but there were some marital issues and he needed some time alone to clear his head, get his thoughts, figure out what he wanted to do going forward. Kevin's family did still worry about him though, and after a few days of him not being around and very barely contacting his mother, she reported him missing to the local police. The police did look into the disappearance, however, they could see that not only was Kevin texting some people that he needed some time due to the marriage issues, a local business that was familiar with Kevin had actually seen him recently walking by. So people knew that Kevin was still in the area and that there were some issues in the marriage, which unfortunately is not too uncommon. And he just needed some space alone and he needed some time away from people to figure out what he wanted to do. The Monday after Kevin walked out on his family, Morgan showed up to the workshop to greet the morning crew. One of their workers was a 21-year-old by the name of Stephen Chappelle. Stephen was overly close to Morgan, closer than an employee would be. They were very close, very friendly, and spending quite a lot of extra time together. As I mentioned earlier, it was not uncommon for Morgan to cheat, so it was pretty obvious as to who Morgan was having the affair with this time. The police obviously did ask Morgan about this potential affair, and she denied it, laughing that, "No, I'm a married woman, he's a young boy, we're nothing more than friends." For a few more days, Kevin was still not really seen. However, he was still sending the odd text message here and there that he still needed some more time. He still needed, people just kind of leave him alone. He needed to collect his thoughts. He also sent a Facebook post, but this worried his family a lot. Kevin always updated his Facebook or posted to Facebook from his cell phone. This post showed that it was sent from a computer. Not only that, but the wording just didn't quite seem like Kevin's usual wording. So the family tried to push the police further into looking into this. They believed there was more going on than Kevin just walking out on his family. They believed something had maybe happened to him. His very own brother, Chris, decided to start to stake out the home of Morgan and Kevin with his very own camera. He witnessed Stephen spending a lot of time in his brother's house. Stephen was very, very close with Morgan, and it was pretty obvious that there was an affair going on there. Then one day, Chris was staking out the house, and he witnessed Morgan and Stephen loading up her truck, and in the back seat there was a lot of clothes. Now, they were not going to a laundry shop as the house had a washing machine in it. So Chris followed the truck and they drove to the workshop. A police detective just so happened to already be at the workshop. The detective had gone there in the off chance that maybe he would see Kevin around, or maybe there would be something there that would show where Kevin possibly would be. Obviously, the detective thought that the large amount of clothes in the back of this truck was strange as well. So he asked Morgan and Stephen if they could come down to the police station for some questioning. And then Stephen did something that no one was really expecting. Stephen stole Morgan's truck and sped away. So now, of course, the police really wanted to talk to him. Morgan did come down to the police station and spent hours in the interrogation room. She started telling the detectives that she now thinks that Stephen had maybe had some involvement into why Kevin was no longer around. She mentioned that Stephen had previously said to her that he would do anything to have her. She didn't realize how far he would actually go, but now with his recent actions, obviously she thinks that he has more of an involvement than she actually originally thought. The police detectives, of course, continue to push her, and then Morgan confessed. Stephen had killed her husband with a shovel. When they asked why she had not confessed to this earlier, she said that Stephen had only just told her that day of what he had done. He had kind of covered it up a little bit at first, and then it was that day he told her everything's my fault, and he confessed to what he had done. She was scared of him, so she didn't immediately go to the police as she worried what he would do to her or to their kids. So the police detectives asked Morgan to write down this report of a timeline. And the report was pretty much consistent with what she had recently told them, except for one word that seemed out of the blue and caught the detective's eye. The word was Snapple. So the detectives questioned Morgan on this, and she told the detectives that Stephen's original plan was to poison her husband's Snapple drink with liquid nicotine. When that didn't work, he used a shovel in the workshop and hit Kevin in the back of the head multiple times. And then he transported the body near to his old high school and buried the body in a shallow grave. When the detectives asked Morgan why she used her husband's phone to pretend that he was still alive, she told them that that was also Stephen pretending to be her husband so that people would not come looking for him right away. In Colorado, nearly 2,000 miles away, Stephen was arrested. Stephen told a similar story as to a Snapple drink being poisoned and killing Kevin with a shovel and burying it in a shallow grave. However, he claimed that Morgan was the mastermind to this entire thing. Yes, he did use the shovel, but Morgan was the one that poisoned the drink. It was all Morgan's plan. So the detectives knew what had happened, but they had two suspects that were both pointing the finger at each other. Although unfortunately for these two people, they had a bunch of text messages, and the text messages told the detectives exactly what had happened and who was to blame for what. It was approximately 10:30 a.m. on the 17th of June 2010 when Kevin was murdered. The two illicit lovers were texting before, during, and after the murder took place. And not only that, but their text messages showed some of the excitement and enjoyment they took in these disturbing acts. Either way, not a problem. I just don't even care anymore. Okay, on his way. Babe? He didn't drink it yet. Okay, I'm trying to get Billy out. Gotcha. Can't you think of any reason you would need to talk to him that you can stop at the house with a shovel? Then he'll drink and smoke. I don't know, babe. Billy and I left. I don't want him to try and leave, and seriously, I'm not worried about a mess. Wait till I get to the shop. I'll pretend I forgot the hedge trimmers and tell him they won't start. Okay, just let me know. Or if he's still home, just snatch his keys so he can't leave. He's driving round. He's calling you. Babe? Yo. At the shop, bout to do. K, he drink it? Little bit. About to just hit him. You okay? Babe. Yeah, I'm fine. Just waiting to see if the Snapple works. Take your time with the spark plugs. He drinking it? Yeah, kinda. Really just waiting for him to bend over. I have a shovel in my hand. Ha ha. Nice, babe. Great, babe. I got Billy. Can you drop him at home before you come up? No one's home. I'll drop this off and get a check. K. Grr. You backing out? It's done. Get up here now. Seriously? Answer me. Dead serious. Get up here now. On my way. Pulse? Get up here now. Afterwards, Morgan used her husband's cell phone to text his friends and families, giving them false hope that he was still alive. But why would Morgan want to kill such a hard-working individual who was dedicated to her and her children? He was the breadwinner of the family, and there was no life insurance policy, so she was worse off with him dead. Well, the reason she wanted him dead was because she hated him. And rather than get a divorce, she figured it was easier to have him killed. Because if she got a divorce, that means she would have to go through a custody battle, and she didn't want to do that. So she figured, I'll just have him killed. Stephen pled guilty and was sentenced to 40 to 80 years, and he has since claimed that he does not deserve any forgiveness. Morgan, of course, is a different story, as I'm sure you would have expected. Stephen was going to testify against Morgan, until he received a letter from Morgan that she had just given birth to their twins. She told them details about their twin babies, kind of how they looked, their heights, their weights, their eye colors. So this caused a bit of an issue. If Stephen confessed against his lover, who would now look after his newborn twin babies? Well, the babies were not real. Morgan made it up in the hopes that Stephen would take the blame himself and she would not go to jail. Her plan failed and Stephen was going to testify against her, so she pled guilty. Morgan pled guilty to first-degree murder, possession of instruments of crime, hindering apprehension, and criminal conspiracy. In court, Morgan read out her pre-written apology. However, the apology note seems to show the manipulation of Morgan. She doesn't actually seem to apologize for what she did to Kevin, and on top of that, the apology note kinda seems like she considers herself as one of the victims of this crime as well. How does anyone say they are sorry to 3 children for the loss of their father? How am I supposed to make it better for 2 families? There is only one way I can, by taking responsibility today. I am sorry for so many things. I am hoping that by being held accountable for my actions, we are all able to move forward to some sort of healing. She only apologizes for so many things. She doesn't actually apologize for Kevin at all or what she did. Maybe I'm just looking into it a little bit too much, but then she also says we all can move on to some healing. She should have nothing to move on for on this. She is not a victim in this at all. Kevin's family, of course, did not believe her apology either, with her mother saying there is no remorse here. Morgan was sentenced to life without parole, plus 20 consecutive years of parole for the conspiracy charge. Some people said that this was a case of a love triangle gone bad. However, the Chief Deputy District Attorney disputed that. Morgan Mengel only loved herself. This was the ultimate crime of selfishness. She washed herself of her husband, of her lover, and of her 3 children. She tried to make her husband disappear, but because of the love of Kevin's family and the truly excellent work of the police, it didn't happen. Although Stephen held the shovel, Morgan held the strings. Kevin was a dedicated, loving, hard-working man, and unfortunately, the woman that he married was a Black Widow spider who continued to spin her web of lies and manipulated men into her own deadly gain. Kevin's family and his own children now have to live without this loving, dedicated man in their life, all because Morgan didn't want to go through a custody battle. It was such a pointless waste of life, but unfortunately it's one of those that Kevin really couldn't have seen coming. I don't believe that it is in Morgan's nature to ever be remorseful for the things she has done. I think she will always be manipulative and always pass the blame on to someone else. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, like the video if you liked it, dislike if you didn't, let me know why in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe. If you have any cases that you want me to touch on, whether it's a popular case, an obscure case, a murder, a disappearance, by all means leave it in the comments on this video or any video, and I will add it to my list to start researching on. Be safe out there, guys. It is a very crazy world.